What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 4 of the Small Talk Podcast. How are you going? How's it going? What you been doing?
I've been the same old, same old. I've been playing a crap ton of Call of Duty. I mean, I've been kind of grinding on a Fortnite recently. It's been kind of weird, but I mean, we've been running squads and duos on that, so I
hmm
mean that's been fun. I mean, what have you been up to?
Yeah, kind of just the same. Playing video games. I started watching Game of Thrones. It's really good. I don't know, just trying to stay somewhat busy. I hung up a mini hoop in my room. So that's cool, I guess. So I
Yeah,
can at least
it's
do
been
something with a. I have some dumbbells in my basement, so I've been lifting with those. I mean, other than that, nothing really. I mean,
yeah, dude. It's been so boring lately. Like, if you guys are like watching this as like the whole Corona pandemic is kind of going underway, like it's so boring. Like I know that like we have to do what we can to like try and stop I guess the spread of this disease, but like at the same time, man, it is so boring. Like
it is.
it's been rough the last few days, like for sure. I've been I would much rather have had to go to school and stuff like that and then have this spring break to be able to go out and do stuff than have just
Yeah.
had the last 2 weeks to just do online school and stuff like that because it's definitely been kind of ridiculous. But I mean, I don't know. I've been watching like a lot of different shows, like especially like on Netflix and Hulu. I feel like Netflix and Hulu have been like the top two things besides YouTube and Call of Duty that I've
Oh
been
yeah,
kind of
YouTube.
doing lately. For sure. Like I don't know. I've been watching just a crap ton of stuff on YouTube, like literally whatever. Like I'm running out of stuff to watch, honestly. So I've been watching All American. I just started the second season today, this morning, actually on Netflix. If you guys haven't seen that, I would definitely go check that show out. It's a good show. It's one of those shows that you can watch. It's like a drama, I guess. It's like a teen drama. So basically the plot of the story is there's this guy. His name is Spencer. He lives in South Crenshaw. Um, he plays football there. He's really really good. And this guy, Coach Billy Baker, like kind of I guess invites him to come play for him at Beverly Hills. There's a lot of complicated stuff going on that goes on, I guess, after that with like Spencer's dad and his mom and Coach Baker and stuff like that. So I would definitely go check that out. But it's like a football story kind of mixed in
Hmm.
with like a teen drama. So it's definitely been like a. It's actually a really good show. I would definitely check it out.
Now I'll add that to my list. It sounds good. I've heard about it. I haven't watched it. But yeah, YouTube. I found this YouTuber. He kind of just does like cool challenges. One thing he did last year was he went from New York to California with no money. So I've been watching those videos. Those are pretty cool. Other than that, yeah, I mean, just chilling. Game of Thrones has been good. That's been fun to watch. I've been watching this show on Netflix for a while called How to Get Away with Murder. It's kind of like a legal drama. It's but it's like not, but it's like pretty fast paced and interesting. So that's cool. Yeah. Other than that, like it's chilling. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
Um.
good.
We.
It's good because I'm getting a lot of family time, which is good. My family's all together, which is nice.
Yeah. That is nice. We were talking a little bit off the air. About this show You.
Oh
So
yeah.
we've been kind of I guess there's a lot of controversy and I guess a lot of like fan fictions and different fan theories that have kind of surrounded this show and I know it came out a little bit like a while ago. First season aired I think
18,
2018,
end
like
of
the end of
2018.
2018.
Yeah.
And then the second season came out last Christmas. I want to say actually on Christmas Eve or either
Yeah, it was
Christmas Eve
over
or the day
break.
after Christmas. It
Yeah, I
was.
think it was right because I was watching it during that week between Christmas and New Year's. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it came out I think right before, right after Christmas. I don't really remember, but For those of you who have not watched the show, I would maybe suggest not listening to the full conversation because I don't want to spoil it. It's honestly one of my favorite TV shows, and like I'm not a huge TV watching guy. Like I don't get into very many TV shows, but I can say this is one of the shows that like I have not been able to stop watching. I guess because I guess very picky about the shows that I watch. Like if I find a show and I like start watching it and stuff like that, and like I'll watch a couple episodes at a time, but if I don't feel like I want to watch it, like when I stop watching, if I'm not like, man, I wonder what happens, then I probably won't end up finishing it because I'll just be like, well, like I just don't really care. So this was one of those shows that like I had trouble like when this like I guess shows ended, like I had trouble stopping.
Yeah,
I
it's
almost
one of
binged
those
it all the
that
way.
yeah, it definitely keeps your attention. So basically, if you guys haven't seen the show and don't want spoilers, click out now, watch the show, and then come back and finish this episode.
Yeah,
Because that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the way because it is such a good show. And yeah, we're going to try. We're trying something new where we kind of because we're both interested in sports, we're going to kind of try to keep that to only one episode a week and talk about other things in the other ones. Just because we know some of you guys, like the last episode with NFL free agency, we know a lot of you guys aren't really interested in the NFL, so we're trying to keep everybody's interest. And also, if you have any suggestions for what we should talk about, please, please, please leave them in the comments.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we can always come up with stuff to talk to because we're pretty good friends, so we'll just figure out things to talk about. But like, we want to know what you guys, I guess, want to hear. Like, if you guys are like wondering our thoughts on, I guess, what's happening right now. If you guys are wondering what's going to happen with the MLB season, all the UFC cards that are coming up, different sports stuff. If you guys are really interested in that, we can talk about that all day because that's what we do normally. But if you guys are wondering about what we think of other TikTokers or I guess YouTubers or whatever, like just let us know because we want to, I guess, do things that you guys want to hear too,
Mhm.
not just stuff that we want to talk about.
And please
But
leave us suggestions for stuff to watch as well.
yeah, we'll pin your comment at the top if you like leave us a suggestion. We'll definitely do that.
Yeah.
But I guess back to you. Uh so the story starts off with a guy, Joe Goldberg.
Creep.
He's a
First off, the dude's a creep.
he's a very creepy man. Um so he works at a bookstore in New York, and he's kind of like, I guess he was raised. His mom was kind of crazy. Like she kind of put him in abusive situations. He was like in and out of foster care for a little bit. Like he definitely didn't have like an easy childhood growing up. And one of the people who took him in was this guy who worked at this bookstore. He kind of taught him everything he knows about like books and also kind of, I guess, correlated it to life. But he meets this girl, Guinevere Beck, who is like, I mean, like she like walks in and she's kind of like super into books and stuff like that, but she's also like very confused because she's had like daddy issues kind of. So like she just has like some stuff going on, but they kind of hit it off. Um so he like kind of gets attached. He's like, man, she's super hot or whatever, like it's going through his
Yeah.
mind, so he starts to stalk her, and
Which
he
is
like
weird.
looks her
First
up
off,
on.
like he like fully stalks her. He like figures out where her address is, like where she lives, that kind of
Yeah,
thing. Like he doesn't just like look her up on Instagram. He like
he looks her up
fully
on
stalks
every
her.
social media platform, like finds out where she lives, goes to her house and just stands outside her house, and then is like kind of like walking around, finds out that she's going to be at this like bar doing like poetry, and she's like super drunk, and she like is kind of like fumbling around with the words, so he gets like kind of embarrassed. He's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to see her in this light, so like he just leaves. And then she like comes to the same subway station that he's at, and she like falls onto the train tracks, and so he has to like jump down into the train tracks and like save her before she gets hit by a subway train and like all this stuff. And so she's like, "Oh my gosh, you saved my life!" All this stuff. Well, she dropped her phone, and so he kind of like picks it up and stuffs it in his pocket and gets her a taxi home, and then that's where we meet Benji. Or no, we meet Benji before that. Benji is like Gwen's off and on boyfriend who's kind of
Yeah.
he's an artisanal soda entrepreneur who has a bunch of money from his parents, has a terrible beanie and is really annoying. But he kind of is just kind of he's a dick, and so he like goes and like knocks on the window and is like, "Oh my gosh, who's this guy?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, this is Joe. He saved my life. He works in the bookstore, whatever." And the dude's like, "Whatever. Like, I don't care about this dude." And then they go inside and they do their thing. But like instantly, Joe is like, "Man, I hate this guy." So he like formulates a plan to come, like, like kind of like get this guy away from Beck because he thinks that Beck would be better off without him, but she doesn't understand that. So he
Yeah.
like lures him into his like book lair, I guess is the
There's like
best way to
a
describe it.
there's like a basement in the bookstore, and basically he lures Benji down there, and there's like this like vacuum sealed cage where they like store the really old books. And basically, he lures Benji down there and locks him in the cage.
Yeah.
And let's just stop here. Like when you saw that, what were you thinking? Like he was like, he like locked this dude in a cage, basically. Like what's going on?
I don't know. I First of all, I guess jumping ahead a little bit, I didn't think that he was gonna kill him. Like
Oh,
when I first
I did
saw it, like
totally.
you thought he was gonna kill him. I
Yeah,
didn't.
because he's just
I
a
didn't.
creepy dude. He's an insane person.
I well, the hard thing about it is this show is like the reason this show is kind of at times so like heart wrenching and very like emotional is because you don't hate Joe like as much of a creep. Like we know he's a creep and we talk about how much he's a creep, but you don't hate him. Like
Yeah,
you want
I
him to
know.
like get away with it. Like
But
he
it still
helps his
sucks. Like,
neighbor Paco, like this little kid. His like mom is always in abusive relationships too, so he can kind of, I guess, sympathize with it. And
yeah,
he's always just getting kicked out of their house, and he's like sitting on the steps, and so he's always trying to like take care of him. So he's doing nice things, so you don't like want to root against him. So that's why I was thinking like, man, he's not gonna kill this dude. But what I thought was dumb was when Benji like found out who he was and like remembered and like told him because like I guess if I was in that situation I would not have told him that that's like that I knew who he was because then you literally sealed your fate. Like he was like trying to figure out a plan to like let him go and like make him like forget that this all kind of happened and
hmm
not find a way to like track it back to him type of thing, and he wasn't going to kill him. But then when that dude was like, "Oh my gosh, you're Joe, what's Joe Goldberg or whatever," like you were with Gwen when like this happened, and then that's when he was like, "Well, he knows who I am, so I can't like let him go now." So then I guess at that point he kind of had to kill him. At that point I knew that he was dead because there was no way that he was going to figure out a way to let him go.
yeah. So basically, he ends up killing him, takes his body to the forest, breaks his teeth. Yeah, and then basically Benji goes missing. So then Joe goes after. They call her Beck in the show. So Beck, basically, he gets with her, but he's like still really creepy about it, and he like we don't find this like I don't know. He's just a weird like he's just weird about it, and he's always like kind of stalking her. He's always afraid she's gonna leave him, that kind of thing. And basically, what ends up happening towards the end is I mean we can jump ahead really. There's a lot of fluff in between.
Yeah.
So in the last episode, Beck basically finds out from Paco that Joe has this like hidey box. It's like where he hides like special things
Yeah.
above his like toilet. And so she's like, let me check that out. And he finds like she finds Benji's tea,
Her panties.
her panties.
Because he broke into her house. So he broke into her house before, like, before they were like dating and stuff. And he took like a pair of her underwear and
Yeah.
he like put it in that box with like Benji's teeth because he took Benji's teeth out because he wanted to like decompose the body so that way no one
Yeah,
could like
so there
find
weren't
it.
dental records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
I don't know.
I don't
There
know.
were some other things in there. So basically, she knew that he was a creep and like stalking her, and she also knew that he killed Benji, essentially. So then she finds out, and she confronts him. He then locks her in that book cage, we'll call it.
So they can like fix their relationship. Like he kind of like describes it as like he's gonna like save their relationship by locking her in this cage because now she can have endless time to write because she's a writer. So like he's like, oh, you have all this time to write now, and is like trying to like manipulate her into thinking that this is like good for her. And so she like writes this big old long story about being trapped in a cage and all this stuff, and then um she like tries to figure out a way to like get out. So then he like goes into like the like cage area with her and she stabs him and tries to make
That's
a
right.
run for it. So she like locks him in the cage after she stabs him and he's thinking, "Oh my gosh, she's going to like rat me out, like we're done now. Like I'm going to go to prison for the rest of my life and now like she's going to like know that I did that and that's like the worst thing that could ever happen." And then there's a hide key that she didn't know about that was in there that he knew about just in case he got locked in there. And he like breaks out and chases her up the stairs and that's like the end of the season kind of because there's just like a cutscene where she's just sprinting up the stairs and is trying to like go to the door and she sees Paco and she's trying to get Paco to open the door and Paco doesn't
Yeah,
want
Paco was at the store.
Paco doesn't want Joe to like know that he like told Gwen about this and all this stuff, and Paco doesn't want Joe to be mad at him, so he doesn't say anything. So then she ends up like dying, or like I guess not dying, but he kills her
We can assume,
and then
yeah.
publishes her book. And
So then, that's basically the end of the season. And honestly,
what about Candace? Candace.
Oh yeah.
Like, at the end of the season, we figure out that there's this chick named Candace.
Well, we knew about her. Like that was his ex. We knew that but she wasn't in the story. And then at the end, she comes up and she's like, "We need to talk." I'm like,
mm-hmm.
And we know he did something to Candace. We know he did something to Candace. We don't know like some similar thing, like she like locked her up or something, but we don't know for sure.
Yeah, like we knew that he was like did something like in the relationship that like made her upset, but like we see like different things, like she keeps popping up in his memory, like he'll be like hanging out with Gwen and he'll just have like a flashback to like Candace and stuff like that. So then he ends up killing her, publishes her book, sees Candace, and then the next season he moves to LA to try and get away from her because he thinks the only way to get away from her is to go to somewhere that she knows that he hates, which is Los Angeles. So he goes there and like tries to get this job at a Navrin, which is like a grocery store.
Well, first off, he changes his identity.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
He changes his identity to be called Will Bettelheim, and basically,
he like found this dude online who like makes fake IDs and stuff, and I guess when they met up, he was like talking to him, was being super nice to him, and then he
just stole
like ends up hitting him with like a rock and then stuffs him in the back of his trunk and takes him to this other cage that's the exact same cage in like a storage unit and takes his like name and identity. So he locks this dude in the cage. He's like always talking to him, trying to like get him to help him. And then like like changed his name to Will Bettelheim, moves in this like sketchy apartment complex, gets his job at a Novrin, meets this girl named Love Quinn, who
That's she's
I
like the
mean,
love interest of the season.
yeah, she's like his newfound love. Um, she then like is like helping him and being super nice, but then we find out that the whole time his plan wasn't just to like lay low, because in the beginning he's like talking about I have to lay low, save up money, just try and get out so I can start a new life. But it turns out that it's really he's not just laying low, trying to start a new life. He's actually been spying on Love, and everything is based around, like in his life is based around this girl Love, who he like met. So he gets an apartment where he can like spy on her house with like a telescope. Gets a job at the same place that she works at. Um, is like doing all these weird
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Gets on social media.
Basically, it's what he did with Beck all over again. Just kind of
Yeah,
creeping,
just on
being
a different level. Like gets on a like a much like elevated level, like to the point where like he can see inside of her house with a telescope from his house or
Oh yeah,
apartment.
and I just want to say this. I definitely liked season two more than season one.
Oh, for sure. But it's like I don't know. Like we find out that like Love was married, and so we think, oh man, well this is not maybe not his love for this like season. But then we find out that his husband or her husband died because of like cancer or something. I don't really remember.
Yeah,
But
it's some terminal
then
disease. Yeah,
she like is kind of like talking to him and is like, oh man, like I see this darkness in you that is only from like true tragedy or something like that, and is like really like getting in depth about it, and is like I see that you have that same like dark sadness that like I do, which is like only from like true loss. And so it's kind of a curveball. Like I didn't really think much of it in the
yeah.
beginning, but it becomes really important at the end. Like
She's super sus as well. Like she she's just kind of weird as well, like Joe. And she seems
mhm.
to like because of that whole like they feel that connection from Lost. She's really connected. Like feels like she wants to be with him, which I think
Yeah,
is really. I mean, it kind of makes it better. There's kind of they're both kind of
like
creeping on each other and that kind of thing.
yeah, because she like starts to become attached to him, like he was attached to her. But then Candace finds Love's twin brother. I don't remember his name. Do you remember his name?
40, 40 Quinn,
Ford.
40, like the number.
40, 40, 40, 40. Yeah. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like also he works also at a Novrin because their parents like own it and stuff. But like he is like trying to become, or at first he's like sus about Will or Joe. He's like, oh man, this dude's sus. I don't like him. I don't want you to date him and all this stuff. And then he flips the switch and is like, oh my gosh, like Joe or Will is my best friend. And then something slips up and he ends up telling him that his real name isn't Will, it's Joe. And so
hmm
they're like, oh my gosh, like this is the biggest thing ever. So they get into like a big fight and they're like, oh my gosh, I like can't believe that you lied about this. And then eventually they kind of come to their senses and they're like, well, you're honestly a really nice dude and like we really like you a lot and we miss you. So I guess we'll let it slide that your name is Joe and everything. So then that's like the first time that they really have showed like a
yeah,
creepy moment.
yeah. Dude faked his entire personality, his entire lifestyle, and his entire like backstory. And that's kind of what Love fell in love with, the fact that he faked himself, which I think is kind of crazy. Like she was just as kind of crazy as him.
hmm And then um, Candace starts dating 40 to get closer to Will and is like trying to like expose him and everything. So like this whole thing gets kind of like screwed and like uh yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happens between them. They go on like a retreat and Candace is like acting like she's so in love with 40 and playing 40 and 40 is like a drug addict and all this stuff. Oh yeah, and meanwhile, Will's trying to be the hero again, like he was with Paco, with his like next door neighbor's like little sister,
Younger sister,
because
yeah.
she there's like some creepy comedy dude who takes pictures of like underage girls and is just like a real creep. So he ends up killing him on accident, and then like
It's
she
really hard
like
to explain. There's like so much
yeah.
going on.
So she ends up like killing him on accident, or he ends up killing him on accident. Almost gets caught by the cops because he's got the headphones. Then the cops are kind of on him. They're like, "What is happening? Like this is kind of weird. Like he definitely killed somebody." His next door neighbor Delilah, the older sister, is like, "Man, you're super weird. Like something happened, and like I'm gonna try and solve it because she was violated by this comedy dude." And then 40's trying to get in with him because 40 just wants to make like a hit movie, but then 40 starts to get on Joe's trail because he kind of like finds out that Joe like killed all these people and killed Beck, and he's like, oh my gosh, he's gonna do that to Love. So he ends up freaking out and is like going on like this war path just to try and expose Will and try and get Love away from Will. And so um like my gosh, it's just like there's a lot of stuff happening, and then
Yeah.
the real Will Bettelheim ends up moving to the Philippines with this girl that he met online and is living happily ever after. He didn't kill him, but then Delilah ends up finding out that he killed the comedy dude, so he has to lock her up in there. And is like, I will let you go, I promise. I just have to save up enough money to leave. I booked a flight, like I just have to
Mhm.
get all my stuff together. But these cuffs are like will like unlock in 24 hours so that way you
Yeah.
can like get out and whatever. And so then he like tries to get all this stuff together. He's like, Love, I gotta go, I gotta leave, like I can't stay and all this stuff. And meanwhile 40's trying to make this movie with him, and
Yeah.
so he's like, this is like a bad time. And then yeah, there's just like a ton of stuff going on. He's like freaking out. Then 40 gives him like drugs, and so he ends up tripping for like 12 of the
Yeah. They
24
have a
hours.
bad trip. They have like
They have
a
like
big
a
overnight.
bad trip. It was horrible. And so then um, the little sister is like asking uh, Joe and 40 where her sister is because she's been gone for like a couple days. And he's like, oh man, she's good. Like she's fine. And then like he visits the storage unit while he's like tripping and stuff like that, and then he comes back to it the next day and sees that Delilah was like murdered, and he's like, oh my gosh, did I do that? Like he's trying to like retrace all of his steps, and meanwhile like the little sister is still trying to figure out who like where her sister is and stuff, and she's like scared,
Mhm.
and he knows that she's dead, but he doesn't know if he killed her because he didn't want to kill her obviously.
Yeah.
And so he's like, oh my gosh, like she's probably just like looking on a story or something. He's like trying to like play it off and stuff. And then like eventually,
Okay, so let's time out for a minute.
okay.
When this was going on, who did you think killed Delilah? Who did you think
Um,
like?
I thought Will killed Delilah. I thought that he was just high and just like didn't remember it. But I thought that he
Yeah,
killed her
I
for
did
sure.
too, because it would make sense. Like he was the only one that seemed to have access to the cage,
Yeah, the
and like he
storage
just
unit. Like he
was
was the
like
only one who ever went there.
he would have just been like confused and would have just like been like, oh, well, oops, I killed her, and then wouldn't remember in the morning.
Yeah,
But probably the biggest twist I've seen in a
yeah.
show in a long time.
Like probably the biggest twist I've ever seen in a show ever.
You think? I don't know. I think I agree. It was a huge twist. Basically, Love, right? Love killed
Yep.
Delilah.
Yes.
And why? But why did Love kill Delilah? And this is a question I kind of asked myself because it really didn't make sense. But then they
She
kind
was
of
like
retraced their
jealous of
steps.
Delilah.
She was jealous of Delilah. she was obsessed with Will in the same way that Will was obsessed with her and
Yeah, they were
Beck.
both psychopaths. Like she killed. So she killed, has killed people before that too, because her parents are super rich, so she gets away with it. But
Oh yeah,
40 had a girlfriend when he was like 14,
she
and
was
she
like
kind
the
of like,
maid. She
yeah,
was like older.
she like assaulted him or something like that, and he was like really young, so he killed her, and 40 knew that he killed her, or she killed her,
Yeah,
but then kind of forgot because he did so much drugs and stuff, and so then like the case was kind of closed because their parents just paid off everybody and everything, but then like Love like found out about the whole Delilah thing and went into the like cage and killed Delilah because she was jealous of her, and then read Gwen's book and was like, "Oh my gosh, Guinevere Beck was nothing for you. Like I'm everything for you." And meanwhile, Candace is like trying to like pin this all on Joe because she's like he's killed people before because he killed some dude that she was having an affair with while they were dating, and then
yeah.
um,
Basically, Joe, anybody he feels threatened by in his love life, he kills.
pretty
It's
much
pretty
yeah.
disturbing. It's very disturbing, actually.
Yeah, he kills like people that he feels threatened like or jealous of in a relationship. So he killed someone that was close to Candace, and like apparently he he did try to kill Candace because he like tried to bury he like buried her alive pretty much. And then Candace is like trying to pin it on him. So then she figures out a way to like trap him in the cage. And so the whole time he's like, "Oh my gosh, this is the end. This is the end." And then she's like, "I'm gonna go get Love, and I'm gonna show Love who you really are." And so then Love comes in and is like, "Oh my gosh, like I can't believe that this happened. I can't believe that like all this." And it's like you think that this is gonna be the end. And he's gonna go to jail, but then um, Love or Candace kind of like walks away and Love follows her, and then Love ends up killing Candace
Right.
and then lets Joe out, and then is like tells him everything. He's like, "Yeah, I killed Delilah. This is like I was jealous of her. I read Gwen's book. Gwen was like boring and wasn't worth your time, and I just killed Candace because I don't want anything to get in between us because I love you and you're like the best thing ever." And so then it becomes apparent that like they're both like almost in a way like perfect for each other, and he kind of like mentions that he's like, "This is like our or imperfect love story or something like that, like where they're
They're
both
perfect
messed
in
up."
the weirdest way because they both have that same mentality, which it just makes the show disturbing, man. Like
Yeah,
but it's like it's so watchable too.
yeah, she like kills everybody, tells him that she's killed a bunch of people too, and that it's fine, and that her parents are gonna pay like this whole thing off, and it's gonna be like okay, and then they can live happily ever after. So then Joe's like kind of like disturbed, which is weird because he's a serial killer too, but he's like disturbed by this. But then,
Yeah,
but then like
he got Jode himself, man. Like what he's been doing to all these girls, Beck or not Beck, Love did to him, and I
yeah,
think that was a good twist. Like
super good twist, super
props
good.
to the producers and directors, man. Like and writers. That was a solid twist.
That was a good
And
twist.
yeah, and
And
so
then
basically,
40's still looking for him because 40's
okay,
like
40 is still around.
yeah, 40's like still like trying to track down Joe
Yeah.
and is like trying to tell Love that like he's a serial killer and everything, even though she knows. And so they end up meeting at a Navrin at the like grocery store, and he's like, "Stay away from her or from him, Love. Like you don't go near him. Like he's gonna kill you and he's gonna do what he did to Beck." And he's like, she's like trying to explain like, "No, no, no, it's okay, it's okay." And then he pulls out a gun and tries to kill Joe, but then a
Mhm.
police officer comes in and kills 40. So then,
The
like,
yeah, that's the police officer. This guy's kind of throughout the show. He was the guy that was kind of he was
dating
like
Delilah.
dating Delilah, and he was kind of around the whole thing. But he ended up shooting 40. So 40 died, Candace died, Delilah died. Right at the end,
Hmm.
kind of. It
Oh
was
yeah,
pretty
they
crazy. The
gave
last episode was insane.
well they gave the little girl. I remember. So he ends up telling the like younger sister that Delilah's dead, and he's like, I don't know what happened to her. I don't know what happened. Like she died, and like that's it. Like she's dead. So then he is like, but the cops are gonna come for you and stuff like that if you don't leave. So they give her like a bunch of like hundreds of thousands of dollars and gets her a ticket on like a subway east or like a train east or something like that. And they were like, just go as far east as possible and try and restart your new life and like make it in the movie industry and stuff. And then, um, like, yeah, like they get rid of the little girl kind of, and then 40's dead,
She's
and
not
then
really
their
a little
parents
girl
pay.
though. She's like 16, 17. She's not a little
No,
girl.
she's like I thought she's like 15 or something like that, but
Yeah,
like
she's
she
not like
like
little though. She's like a
mhm.
teenager.
Oh, we skipped over something. So they like trade books because when they first moved in, they were like Will's just a weird dude who likes to read. So Joe would give, or I guess not Will, Joe would give her books to read, and she would give him movies to watch, and they would like switch back and forth. And so that kind of leads into the end of the like show. So after everything kind of settles, their parents pay everybody off, so the case can't be opened, so no one's gonna get in trouble for what they did. And then um, Joe's like they move into their new house. Love is pregnant, and he's kind of walking through the backyard, and he kind of goes to look at in like the next door neighbor, and he sees like the some of the books that like he recommended to the little girl. Like he gives like he sees them there, and the whole time he's like, oh my gosh, like you're now who I want to be with, and like she because of the book, all because like you don't see her face, you don't see she's just lounging by the pool reading a book that he likes, and he suggested to the younger sister, and it's kind of like you're now who I want to be with. I just have to figure out like a way to get with you and whatever.
Hmm.
But that's like the end of the season, so that's where a lot of the I guess fan theories come into play because
We don't know who that is at the end. We just know that
mm-hmm,
that's probably going to be the next interest in the next season.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's just back up for a minute. This show is downright creepy, right? Like,
It's so good though. Like I'm talking about it, I want to go watch it again.
yeah, it's a good show. It's a solid show. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I wonder if it'll be someone from his like past life, like someone like from his life
Well,
back in New York. I don't
I
know. I haven't
think
really
it's
read much about it.
I think it's that little girl because I was watching some of the fan
You think
theories
it's the
and like they were
girl?
saying like it's a new girl or it's like someone that like he worked with at the bookstore or something like that. Like, but like I saw a theory that it's like that little girl because they gave her a ton of money. So there's a like a twist that maybe it's Delilah's younger sister is actually the one who lives next door to them because the book that she's reading is one of the books that he gave her to read, and they gave her a bunch of money and told her to go start her new life pretty much. And like the money they gave her was not light, like we're talking like hundreds of thousands of dollars, so it's not out of the realm of possibilities that she just went and just bought a house straight up.
But she's like 15.
I mean, I don't know, there's
That's
a
kind of
theory
that's kind
about
of that's gonna be weird. If it is her, I'm not gonna watch. I'm not into that. That's weird.
well not
He's a
well, I
pedo? No way, bro.
no, he's not gonna be a pedophile. Like, I, he's like if it ends up being the little girl, like he's gonna get like super like confused and turned off. Like he's not gonna be like, oh my gosh, I want to date you because of that. Because all we see is just the book, and he's that's the only thing that he sees of her. So that's the only thing he's attracted to is just the book that she's reading. So if he finds out that it's Delilah's younger sister, then he's gonna be like, "Oh, what the heck? Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like trying to like protect her and stuff like that." But yeah, that's
I
like
feel like so you're
probably
saying
that's
that's
probably
just
the theory that I'm gonna go with.
that's just something they put in the end. In that whoever that woman is at the end isn't actually going to be the love interest for the next season.
hmm I don't know. It's definitely like the trailers are super misleading because in the second season the trailer was like had a like clip of him in jail, but really that was just because him and Love got into like trouble because they were running around doing illegal things together and like drinking
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff.
not like he was like locked up for murdering people or anything.
Oh no, it wasn't him and Love, it was him and Delilah, remember? Because when they found out
That's
that
right.
when Love found out that it wasn't Will wasn't his real name and stuff. They like kind of went on a break, and so he didn't really cheat, but he went and like messed around with Delilah, and so they were walking around doing illegal things, and they ended up getting picked up by the cop that shot 40, and also the cop that like I guess like found out about um
Will or
he found
Joe.
out about Joe and Delilah's like thing.
It's
And it
confusing.
always happens. It happened the last season too because when Beck and him went on a break, he ended up like thinking with the next door neighbor's like sister or cousin or something like that, and they like dated for a while. You remember her?
No, honestly,
You don't?
it's been a long time since I watched season one.
Yeah. So him and Beck went on like a break, and so he was just super sad, and the next door neighbor was like super hurt because her like boyfriend had just left and was like super abusive, and she was just like stuck in that cycle, and then some lady was like taking care of her, and so they kind of talked for a little bit, and they ended up like kind of like hitting it off, and they like had sex and stuff, and
That's
then
right. That's right. That's right.
then they like started dating, and he was like, oh my gosh, this is so right, like Gwen, like, or Beck, you were like good for me at the time, but like this is so much better because she cares about me. Like you only cared about yourself, but like she cares about me and stuff. So
Hmm.
like it was just this show was so crazy. Like if you haven't watched it and you're still listening, like I don't know why you got it spoiled for you.
You just heard everything, guys.
But like I'm serious, like it's such a good show.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't really have anything else. I just what I want to say is it's a very creepy show. It's a very good show. It's well made.
Yeah.
The guy who is the actor for Joe, I feel like just his mannerism, he does a really good job in the role. Um,
hmm
I don't know. It's a creepy show, man, but it's so enticing, like just to
Yeah,
watch
it's
and
a
it's
really good
so
show. I would definitely
yeah.
check it out if you haven't seen it.
I don't know why you're still here if you haven't seen it yet, but yeah.
Like, if you haven't seen it and you're still watching, like, thanks for watching. But go
Thanks
check
for
it
the
out. Like, go
support.
watch it for yourself and go make your own opinions and like leave your theories in the comment. Like, when you guys finish season, excuse me,
Dude.
if you when you guys finish season 2 and you see that twist and everything, like, put all your theories down in the comments and let us know what you guys think it is because I think it's super interesting and everybody has like really good ideas. Like really that's all I had to say. Like we went through both seasons and like
Yeah.
this
This is
is
our
like
longest episode yet. So
yeah. Well, um,
it
like
is.
thank you guys for watching. If you guys made it this far, go ahead and drop a like down there. If you're not subscribed yet, I don't know what you're doing. Go ahead and subscribe. We would love to have you as a part of our growing community. Vince, what else you got to say?
Yeah, thank you guys for watching as always. Be sure to like, subscribe, all of that stuff. Again, if you have any suggestions for what we should talk about, please be sure to leave them down below. Um, I know we're still stuck on this video format, and obviously that's probably going to continue for a while because of Corona. Be sure you're staying safe, practice social distancing, be smart. But just thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys. Well, I guess I'll see you later.
Yep.
All
See you
right.
next time, guys.
All right, we'll see you guys.